Ask her, let's get a sample. Ask her to blow that sample real quick.
They can't see you, they can only hear you.
Hey, we finna go live, y'all.
I can't do that yet.
Hey, JT, you ready to bust a sample?
Do it real quick. Hold on. They can't see you. She ain't do those shy self.
I just got a love to guess what? How much fruits I have. Yeah, you got
Oh, we live now.
Yeah. I hear a whole bunch of talking or something.
Peace, family. Peace, family. This is Jamie from Sankofa 180 Degrees. Hey, welcome to another episode. How y'all doing out there, man? Hey, peace, King. Peace to the queens. Hey, what you think about it, King?
Hey, what's up? Sankofa, $180 degrees on you. Hey, we got a little video today, man. With Dr. Bantu talking about how to engage with Kemeticism, right? So how the Christians can counteract what the Kemetics put out there. So we're gonna take a little view of that. And welcome Jennifer, welcome Carrie, welcome to anybody that's gonna see this later. Be sure to like, dislike, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and please comment something. I know you'll be thinking something if you're watching this, man, and you're watching any of them. You got some thoughts, man. It ain't like church, man. You can ask questions, you can make statements. So, come on in. And then
yeah, and I know y'all be thinking, man, hey, them dudes don't know what they talking about, man. Come on in, man, and let us know, man, because we may not. You know what I mean? We may be out here we pump faking, man. So come on in, man. Let us know, man, where we wrong at, or even let us know where we right at. That'd be nice.
Yeah. And then we do the Sankofa Sundays every Sunday. And so I send out the link all the time. If you want to get in touch and join in, I'd love to have you. You can share any views you want, not just our Kemetic side, Christian, you can go Buddha, you can go almost anywhere. Almost. Right. So we ain't gonna put nobody down, and but we're gonna question your faith, and we don't have all the answers either. So this is one of those where you're not just going to watch, you can interact. So, and then on first Sundays, which will be next week, is the kids session. And what they do on the kids session, you go ahead and drop that, Jamie. Drop it on them about the kids session.
Yeah. So every first Sunday every month, we do a children's book read, right? So what that includes is a child is going to read a book, and we're reading books on African history, right? African kings and queens and historical figures, right? Real people, real events, right? And so what happens is the child will read, and the participants, right, will put their name in the chat. We'll put their names in the chat, right? And we'll do a drawing, and at that drawing, right, somebody will win the book. We're gonna whoever wins that drawing gets a free book, right? Mailed to you free of charge, right? Nice books, right? And then we just hope that child that wins that book will do the next following book read, right? So it's just a little thing, man, that we're doing to encourage reading, for one. Number two is they trying to take the African history out of the schools. So it's our job, man, is to compensate for that, right? You know what I'm saying? They're gonna take it out. There ain't no question about it, right? They're doing it here in Florida, you know what I mean, and other places. And all I'm saying is this, man. We gotta give the kids, man, a chance, right? Because these people is really, 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 really embarrassed about this history. And the only history it is Black history. It ain't no other history. So if they take out the Black history, man, guess what? Ain't no history. That's crazy. right? So you might as well just take out the whole curriculum. Well, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's what that amounts to, man. We just trying to encourage reading, uh, uh, you know, so you know, and you know, you know, kids can learn, right? Or,
Yeah, and like Jamie said, they get a free book. We do a draw and you just put your name in the chat. The kids put their name in the chat, and we do a drawing. The kid can win a book. We send it free. Don't even trip on that. And we just ask that the youngin come back next month and do his reading, for the group. And then we do a raffle again. So we just supervise, man. All parents are welcome, but it's really the kids' show. They can interact. They can impart videos from their own end. Pictures. They can share about what's on their mind. Like I said in the beginning, this ain't like church, man. And peace to people in the church too, man. We need some spirituality and stuff. So, but if you want to get down to the Nile Valley, African culture, the original, then come see us at Sankofa. It's cool. It's cool that you watch the videos. We really appreciate that. So make sure you comment, like, dislike, ring that notification bell, and subscribe. And so we're just trying to get a little participation from other people, because we're gonna do this every week anyway, regardless.
Yeah, we ain't asked for nothing. We ain't asked for nothing, man. We ain't asked for no donations. We ain't asked for y'all for no Cash App, no PayPal, none of that, man. Right? This right here, man. We doing this, man, because this is just what we should be doing. You know what I mean? This is what we should be doing. So hey, just all we need you to do is like, subscribe, share, ring that notification bell, and most importantly, man, comment, man. Let us know what's going on, man. All right, that's all, man. But
Yeah.
go ahead, King.
Hey, Tori was trying to get on last week, man, but she said that her and Marlon said that they couldn't get on, couldn't get on the Zoom link. So I don't know what's going on. She had that problem the last time. So
I sent it again today. I sent it to her.
yeah.
I sent it to her. I can try to send it again real quick.
No, I just did. So I just sent it to her and her husband. So
Okay, all right.
yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and Carrie, you want to say anything? Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and share this.
Jen, you all right? You want to say something?
No, I'm fine. I'm just listening.
Okay. All right. Baby Jamie, I'm waiting on my introduction.
She's upstairs. You hear me?
Yeah, I heard you. Tell her I'm waiting on my introduction.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Oh man, I forgot. Did you send it to Kane?
No, brother, I didn't. No, you got to send it to her.
Yeah, I think I already did, but let me just do that real quick.
Okay.
All right, it's done. All right. So here we go. So there again, listen up for when he brings up, it'll probably be around the 10-minute mark. I'm gonna stop it at like 15 or something. And for when he talks about that, the start of the white community of Kemetic thought in the 70s.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Vince Bantu, and I will be talking to you today.
Can you hear that?
The topic.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we good.
Okay, Doctor. Okay. Hold on, I gotta turn the volume back on.
Bantu, and I will be talking to. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Vince Bantu, and I will be talking to you today about the topic of Kemeticism, and specifically in the spirit of Jude 3, how we can engage with the Kemetic community from the position of the Word of God in order to give an answer for the faith that we have. And so when we talk about the Kemetic movement, what we're talking about is a particular religious group that is primarily active in the Black community in the U.S., but other nations as well. That goes back to the ancient religious life of Egypt. Now, Egypt is the English name that we are familiar with of the land, but this community actually uses the original Egyptian name, which is Kemet. So the name Kemet actually is the original name for the land and the nation of Egypt in the pharaonic times, and actually in the period of early Christianity when many Egyptians.
Jamie, you remember him?
Hey, I've heard of his name. I've never dealt with him before, man. I've never listened to him before.
Yeah, we just watched him on that one panel. So, anyways, let's get it.
Egyptians had actually became Christian, the name actually in Coptic was Kemi. So like Kemi in Coptic and Kemet in ancient Egyptian is kind of the different phases of the language. And Coptic is the language that was spoken when many of the Kemetic or Egyptian people became Christians. And that's even an apologetic in and of itself, but we'll get to that. But anyway, when we're talking about Kemeticism, again, we're talking about a movement that is trying to go back to and bring back and kind of patronize the deities and religious life of ancient Egypt or Kemet. Another name you might be familiar with hearing is the conscious community, which is also sometimes alternatively called the Kemetic or conscious community. And again, what I want to do in this video is in this lecture is to present just a brief overview of some of their core beliefs, and then also some biblical and historical resources that will hopefully aid the body of Christ in representing the faith of Jesus Christ, especially with regard to the Kemetic community. Now, the Kemetic community actually in the United States started actually in the white community, which is also an apologetic in and of itself. In the early 20th century, there were many white people in the United States who were trying to go back similar kind of way, go back to pray to Egyptian gods, even claim to be the reincarnation of those gods, because in ancient Egyptian religion, gods can or goddesses can manifest as human beings, and they kind of go in and out of different modes or modalities or of existence. And so, but this movement, it wasn't really to the 70s when this movement got started in the Black community, and there was an Afro-Panamanian man named Ra Unefra Amen, and he was born in Panama in 1944. He came to New York City.
I gotta back that up.
Lecture is to present just a brief overview of some of their core beliefs, and then also some biblical and historical resources that will hopefully aid the body of Christ in representing the faith of Jesus Christ, especially with regard to the Kemetic community. Now, the Kemetic community actually in the United States started actually in the white community, which is also an apologetic in and of itself. In the early 20th century, there were many white people in the United States who were trying to go back similar kind of way, go back to pray to Egyptian gods, even claim to be the reincarnation of those gods, because in ancient Egyptian religion, gods can or goddesses can manifest as human beings, and they kind of go in and out of different modes or modalities or of existence. And so, but this movement, it wasn't really to the 70s when this movement got started in the Black community, and there was an Afro-Panamanian man named Ra Unefra Amen, and he was born in Panama in 1944. He came to New York City in 1960, and then in 1973 he began the Ausar Auset Society. Now, Ausar and Auset are kind of like Kemet, these are the traditional Egyptian language terms for the Egyptian gods, Osiris and Isis. You might be more familiar with those terms. Those come from the Greek language. And, Egypt was colonized by the Greeks, even from before the time of Christianity in the Ptolemaic dynasty. And so the kind of Hellenized names of Egyptian gods are more probably well known. But one of the biggest kind of values of this particular community is to actually use Egyptian terms and to reject Greek or English or Western terms, because like many other religious communities in the Black community, Hebrew Israelites or Black Muslims, Nation of Islam, whatever, 5%ers, there's a huge emphasis on cultural identity and a desire to distance oneself from Western white terminology and to embrace African terminology, which is actually in many ways a good thing. And actually, it's a wake-up call really to the church that we need to also be clearly presenting the gospel in ways that are much more culturally relatable and accessible to Black people. And so there's actually some common ground we can talk about there, I think. But this particular Kemetic community in the white community was very racist, and actually Ra Nafar Amen experienced a lot of marginalization, and so he left that community and started the Al-Sar-Oset Society, the Osiris Isis Society, in 1973, and it was kind of a multicultural fusion of different things. It was open to many people, but it's predominantly Black people, Afro-Caribbeans, African Americans, Africans in the U.S. mainly, but also other countries as well, and it's predominantly Black movement, where the idea is for Black people to go back to and reclaim their Egyptian identity. And Ra Nafar Amen actually was very educated in Taoism, Hinduism, Buddhism, and so he also fused a lot of those religions in his writings. And I would definitely encourage you to read a lot of his writings that are available to really understand this community's theology. But there's a strong fusion of different gods and goddesses and participants in the various denominations that have emerged since 1973 that all alternatively wear the Kemetic or conscious label or espouse similar theology. All have this kind of pantheon of gods, largely focusing on Egypt, although others are included as well. And there's a sense in which, again, Black people are descendants from Egypt, and that's the original religion of Black people, and we have to go back to that. And there's also another positive thing. They have a very strong emphasis on like healthy eating, healthy diet. But when it comes to the Kemetic community and talking about Christianity, I would say that there's really two major claims that are often made that believers that we have to be prepared to really engage with. And so when we're representing the Bisrat, now Bisrat is a Ethiopian term that means gospel. And again, it's an apologetic even in and of itself that I'm sharing and introducing various African Christian terms because we know that, in Christ Jesus, that all of our languages and cultures are embraced. And so it's fine to use Western terms, but it's also, I think, good and needed to use African terms as well. And so when it comes to representing the Bisrat in engaging the Kemetic community, I would say there's two major claims. One is that the Bisrat, the gospel, is a message, and Christianity is a religion that was started by the white man, that it's a white man's religion. That at its core, Christianity is an oppressive Western white religion. And the second major claim is that Christianity is a copy of Kemetic religion and Kemetic mythology. And so the idea is that Christianity, especially, the story around Jesus and Mary, but even like, the Ten Commandments, that all of these things were just copies from Egypt because Moses and the Israelites were in Egypt. And the Hebrews came out of Egypt. So everything's a copy from Egypt. That's one of the main claims. Now, already those are actually kind of contradictory claims that they will usually make because, again, if Kemetic religion and mythology is African and it's from Egypt and it's Black, and if Christianity was copying off of it, then that would make Christianity Black too, because it's copying off of a Black religion. If the idea is that white people came and copied off of and created, according to them, created a story about Jesus, copying off of the African religion, then that would make it actually have its source in African religion. So it's honestly a poor argument and contradictory arguments to be made, but they are still false claims that the enemy is using to circulate in our community, and with which we have to do spiritual warfare. And so there's a few points that I want to make in this video lecture that hopefully will be helpful in engaging these concepts, and some central points here. Number one, the Bisrat, properly preached and practiced, the gospel is a message that embraces all cultures and does not favor any one of them over the other, right? But all people are embraced in the Bisrat, in the gospel. Number two, the Bisrat, the gospel, and Kemetic or Egyptian mythology, they actually have little in common with each other. And so there's this idea that, oh, Christianity is copying off of Egypt, but they actually have very little in common with each other. Number three, the Kemetic Urpa, and Urpa is actually an Egyptian word that means the church, and it's actually interesting because that's an Egyptian word. So it's it's good to teach these people about Egyptian history. I'm trying to share with you so you can teach them about their own alleged history. But Urpa is actually an Egyptian word that.
I just got to write that down. I didn't have these words going across the screen when I was riding in the car, so I would have had a lot of my questions answered.
Yeah, ain't no problem, man.
Literally means like it means to do or to activate or perform, and Pe means heaven. And these were so it literally means to do or practice heaven. And it's a beautiful concept, actually, a beautiful word for church, because church is just a Germanic word, right? Kirka. And so, you can use church, but also, you can use Urpa as well, because we shouldn't all be beholden to, we shouldn't all be, kind of emphasizing the I all the time, because the I can't say to the hand, I don't need you. And so we all need, every part of the body needs to be influenced and embraced to represent the same Bisrat message. And so anyway, I also think it's interesting that the word Urpa was actually the word for the temple in Egypt, like the temples of Isis or Horus, Heru. These were called the Urpa. And so when Kemetic or Egyptian people became Christians, they actually sometimes would even call the church the Urpa. And so they're using this term that, just like the word church, has a pre-Christian pagan background, but then when Europeans became Christian, they started calling the church, that's what they would use to refer to the ecclesia, is the church. And so in a similar way in Egypt, in Kemet, the believers called it the Urpa, and even would sometimes literally transform ancient temples that were used to worship Isis and Horus, and they would change them into churches. And we see the most famous example right there in this picture, the Temple of Philae, where a cross was superimposed on top of traditional religious iconography. And again, just another apologetic tip is like, look, I'm a believer. I believe in Jesus. I believe Jesus is the only way. I believe the Bible is the word of God. But I do think that we as believers, when we're doing apologetics and evangelism, we also need to show respect. And so I think it's important to, when we're referring to different communities, like, for example, the Kemetic community, they very much are offended when we use English terms or Greek terms like Egypt or Isis. So, I try to say Kemet to be respectful. And in the same way, even though I do believe that these religious claims are falsehoods from the enemy and that keep one separated from God through Christ, I don't think it's really necessary, and it's disrespectful to call it like a cult or use words like pagan. It's like, for example, the Kemetic community, they very much are offended when we use English terms or Greek terms like Egypt or Isis. So, I try to say Kemet to be respectful. And in the same way, even though I do believe that these religious claims are falsehoods from the enemy and that keep one separated from God through Christ, I don't think it's really necessary, and it's disrespectful to call it like a cult or use words like pagan. That's just not respectful. And so I say this was traditional religious belief system that was covered up by Egyptians, by Kemetic people themselves, who, when they put their faith in Jesus Christ, but at the same time, they found ways to contextualize. And that's part of the last point I want to make, is that it was actually during the Christian period of Kemet or Egypt, when most Kemetic people were in the Urpa, the church, that they actually resisted white colonial rule more than the Kemetic traditionalists did. Again, I don't want to say pagan, but I'm going to say the Kemetic traditionalists, the people who prayed to Isis and Horus and all that. They actually did a better job, and I'm going to explain these points and offer some resources right now. Now, first point, again. The Bisrat embraces all cultures and favors none, right? This is something that honestly we need to do better as a church to really teach better, because we have to understand that a large part of why people see Christianity as white man's religion is because it's often been presented that way. How many pictures of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus have we all seen? And so we know that that's not historically accurate, and it's theologically heretical, I would say. And it's psychologically traumatizing to always have a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus. But that is unfortunately normal for many of us to see. And so that's just one example. We go down the list, but there are so many ways in which the church has been presented in a very Eurocentric way. And so it's understandable, though it's false, it's a false thing, it's understandable why people think that. But when we go to the Shaja, the word of God, right, that's an Egyptian word actually for that Egyptian Christians used, the Kemetic Christians used. When we look at the Shaja, the Bible, it shows us that the Bisrat, the gospel, is for all people, that God's message of salvation through Jesus Christ is for all people, right? In the Old Testament, God told Abraham that all people will be blessed to you. Isaiah told Israel that it's too light a thing for you to be my people, and said, I will make you a light to the nations so that my salvation will reach to the ends of the earth, right? So there's always been, even in the Old Testament, a vision of God creating a covenant people of Israel to bring his message of salvation to the entire world so that everyone would be incorporated. And we see that come to fruition in the New Testament in Acts 10 with Cornelius, who is the first non-Hebrew Gentile believer. And Peter realizes, oh, God doesn't show favoritism, but he accepts everybody. See, Peter thought salvation was only going to be for the Hebrew people. And God had to give him a celestial vision and said, kill and eat. And he said, don't call anything unclean that I've made clean. And then in Acts 15, the question becomes, well, do Gentiles who are saved, do they have to be like Jewish people? Like, do they have to get circumcised and do all the temple stuff that we do? And the Holy Spirit led the council into realizing, no, they don't have to be, they don't have to act like Jews. They're Gentiles. They're Greeks, they're Egyptians, they're Persians, they're Indians. Like, the gospel was going in every direction. Acts 2, it says every tribe, nation, and tongue was filled with the Holy Spirit. And they went out from there and they shared the Bisrat, the gospel, in every, God in his providence chose the Hebrew people who were dispersed in almost every nation in the world, from India to Spain to Ethiopia to Scythia. Like, they were everywhere. And they went and shared the Bisrat with their non-Hebrew, non-Jewish kinfolk. And so the gospel went out from everywhere from the beginning. And Acts 15 shows us that no, you don't all have to act like Hebrews, but you stay in your own culture. And so, again, in Revelation 7:9, we see that cultural linguistic distinction is something that's going to follow us into eternity. John looked up in heaven and saw every nation, tribe, and tongue. He heard people saying Shaja and Urpa and Bisra. He heard Egyptian. He heard Ethiopian. He heard Yoruba. He heard Akan. He heard Patois. He heard African American vernacular and Ebonics. He heard Spanish, Chinese, Korean. Every single culture is all united in worship of the risen Lamb, Jesus Christ. And so Christianity does not have any one culture, and it's unique in that way because most cultures are usually associated with one culture. Like Judaism is associated with Hebrew, Jewish people, Israelis. Hinduism is associated with Indian people. Shinto is associated with Japanese people. Islam is associated with Arabic speaking Middle Eastern people, but Christianity is not associated with any one culture. So it's not any man, it's not a white man's religion, and it's not any person's religion. It's for all people. And when we come to God by faith in Jesus Christ, we still stay who we are. We still stay Chinese, black, white, French, Jamaican, Mexican, whatever. We still stay who we are because those things are all made in the image of God. And so that is the Bisrat truly practiced. So it embraces all cultures, and it doesn't belong to any one person. The second point, we have to be able to respond to this claim that, everything y'all read in your Bible is just a copy from Egyptian religion. Well, let's look at that, right? Because a lot of times people in this community, they'll be basing their faith and theology off of a YouTube video they watched or off of some blog that has no kind of like actual research and actual engagement with primary text. But when we look at the primary text, and I've just named a few right here, like the hymn to Osiris, the contingents of Horus and Seth, the Metternich Stela. These are some of the pivotal Egyptian ancient pharaonic texts that talk about Horus and Isis, because that's usually the point where they go when they say everything you're believing in is all a copy from Egypt. Well, let's look at that. When we look at these texts, we read the stories and we actually see, and I'm just kind of summarizing, but again, you can go read these texts for yourself. And because again, most Kemetic people don't even really read them, honestly. And that's, which is part of the problem. They have these beliefs, they don't even read their own, holy texts. But when you read them, you see that actually Osiris, he actually committed adultery with Seth's wife, and that's why he was killed.
So I'm gonna pause it right there for a minute. There's a whole lot of heat in that. So when Jamie comes back here, I'll let him
Oh,
get it.
I'm here. I ain't went nowhere. Shit, I've
Okay.
been here. I ain't.
Okay, I just can't. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Because it just, they really pissed me off a few times, right? And it just calls for more research. And the reason why I'm showing this is, okay, we got it straight that it wasn't a white dude that came in and then started Kemetic thought in the white community. Okay, we get that unless he's one with the name of Ra Nefer Amen, right?
Right.
Right, so I'm gonna research that. Another party talked about that he started after he had the white community, he started Saraset Society. I'm going to look that up. He said presenting the gospel as relatable today. Presenting the gospel, and then he used another name for the gospel. And he said that the Egyptians used that word too for the gospels. But
yeah, but this guy, go ahead, finish.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Hard not to jump
You're
in.
right. You're right.
I'm just gonna run through these real quick because I know you know it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. And so I was thinking, he said he's going to present the gospel as relatable, as it's relatable today. And I get that. I've been through that, seen that, and I understand it. But it seems kind of weird because they're again trying to change shit. Why don't you just study the original and you find how you can make it relatable in your life? But I don't think much has to change, really. All right. So he was talking about the contradictions being copied from Africa and it being different. Let me get it right. He's saying, I could, if it was copied from Africa, then it would be black, right? And so my point is that they're just denying the whitewash, right? How they changed everything up, and then so I'm going to look at that ERPA. That's the word I was looking for, ERPA as well. And he said it's they use it as a temple in the church, and I just think they're trying to make it relatable, even though they don't want to be. They remind me of the damn Hebrew Israelites, man. They'd be anything but African, right? And he said that he doesn't believe in any of the Kemetic or Egyptian or Nile Valley history stuff, and that it's divisional to God's people. It's misleading. It's to throw them off track and things like that. And I think that's really sad. In fact, I was going to run that part back, but I'll wait. And then God gave Peter a celestial vision. I don't know, man. Motherfucker had a dream, man. I get some visions too, so I'm not gonna knock that all the way. I'm not gonna knock that all the way down. You know what I'm saying? And the motherfucker made it law, right? And so, it's all good. And then one more. He said that the Christianity is not associated with just any one person or for any one people, unlike the Kemetics is only for blacks, right? And the Africans, right? And he said, but what I'm saying is that churches can't even come to an agreement. They got all these different denominations. A pastor can't go and preach in this church, things like that, man. And but he spit that game out right there. So those are just some points that I found in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I what I see, I'll tell you what I see. I see it. So this brother, he's a Christian apologist. So we see that he's not a Hebrew Israelite; he's a Christian.
Right.
And so what he was trying to do at one point, showing where it seems like at first he was trying to meld them together. the Christianity and Kemetic thought, right? Right, the Kemetic science, right? That's what at first I thought, and then he made it clear, right? But see what these people do, man, and they do it all the time, right? They tell you that they don't see where the story of Jesus, Mary, it correlates with, you know, a set in Haru. They don't. They say that I mean, for some reason, they don't feel like that's a a correlation, man. They don't. I mean, that's not like the same story, right?
Right.
Uh, right. And then what they'll do is they'll take a small part out, like, well, it says right here that they walked down by the water. See, it don't say it. Where now? Show me in the book of the dead where it say they walked down by the water. Like that type. They're like. So what they're saying is they wanted to say the whole story covered from beginning to end, word for word. It's no, we're not saying that. What we're saying that your concept of your religion came from Kemetic thought, meaning that your structure, because where would you get the structure from? Where do you get the structure from? The whole structure of Ma'at or any kind of structure of any kind of thought, right? Right? Where do you get the structure from? So you got to think, man. Like your first, you get your writings from Moses. Your first 5 books come from Moses. Moses didn't get his first book until he was in his last 40 years of his life. Like, so, I mean, and where did Moses come from? Moses was his first 40 years of his life he was an Egyptian. He was Kemetic. All he knew was Kemetic language. All he knew was Kemetic thought. Period. All he knew was what was on the walls. If that's, I'm just saying according to the story. Personally, listen, man. Moses never existed. All
Right.
right, but I'm just saying according to the story, this man was raised as an Egyptian. So now, what is he teaching then? What would he in his first 5 books? What would he write, King? And what language would he write it in? Your first 40 years of your life you was Kemetic. You was in on the walls, King. Tell me, what is your language and what is your writing style? What are you teaching? So stop it, man. So all and what he took what he wanted out of Kemetic thought and changed what he didn't like. And so now you come up with, okay, so now you see where you got your structure from. And then you guys, may change names here, and it may be, some added on. He raised him from the dead, and he did the backflip. Wait, hey, show me where he did the backflip. He ain't do the backflip. You know what I mean? But he
Right.
raised. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
that's the type of shit you're up against, King. So I'm just saying, man, this guy is. How do you make that make sense, man? How do you make that make sense, man? You got to think about it, man. All your shit come out of Kemet if you reading from Moses. Period.
And you got to be reading from Moses. Jamie, I don't know if you know your picture ain't up, but
Yeah, I know it. I know it.
yeah, that's cool. That's cool then. No pressure. I just didn't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, King. So so now, how do you explain that then? All right, so say we go along with your damn story. Okay, so now what is he teaching then? Right? Like, what
Right.
is he teaching, King? First 40 years. So what is he teaching for that for all that time? So when he was wandering for that 40 years, what was he teaching?
It had to be Kemetic thought.
Man, that's it, man. So don't give me that, man. So until you came up on the mountain in Egypt, talking to a goddamn bush. Cut it out, man.
Yeah, he was shipped there as a baby, so
So cut it out, man. You're not gonna tell me that he had the language then when he was coming down the river. He didn't have he didn't have no Hebrew language. It was, you know what I'm saying? He didn't have, you know what I mean? He came up as Kemetic, period. So what was he teaching? What did he speak? Cut it out. What was he writing? The Medu Netter. Cut it out, man.
Right. You know, another point that he brought up was that we don't even read our own history. And the key point with the Comedics is that you don't study our stuff, and you know, there's 4 juices out there, you know, and you pick the first one, you drink that, and you settle with that's the best. Never even trying the rest of them, so you don't know nothing. All right,
You never know the other 3.
You never know, right? And so, but the ideal is, like he said, we don't get into outside issues, so to say, right? Because that's divisional, right? They're trying to divide us, right? That's the Christian thought, and he just stated it. But what he said was, you know, we don't study, right? And we be in that, the Comedics, man, be in that Bible a lot. And so, you know, it's just, and but he's talking about specifically that we don't even study our own stuff. All right, we just watch some here YouTube videos, and I don't know a Comedic station or channel that doesn't encourage people to do their research and come back with receipts and sources and
That's
stuff
right.
like that. So, you know, that's that downplaying, that whitewashing, that cognitive dissonance, and you know, fear of Sky Daddy ain't coming to get you, man. You know,
It's the only way somebody gonna listen to you.
Let's put the responsibility of everything that we can on something else, and then just pray that it'll work out, right? While daily you walking doing the work and can't take no claim to your own efforts, right? I think personally that's an insult to what would be called a God. The other thing that they kept bringing up was we use the words God and goddesses, right? And I just, everything that I found, that didn't come into play until the westernized the European invasions, the Roman invasions, the Greek invasions, and stuff like that. So and they just denied, he just didn't even bring up the Netchers and the Netcheroos, man, and the big role that principles play in it, right? And they can't do that because they have to keep on with the narrative of God and goddess, right? And so, and I know that people today, you know, utilize that stuff, and they get totally stumped when we identify the woman as God or self as God, right? And so, knowing that we know damn well that there's a greater entity, right? A greater entity, but the closest we can get that's visible and tangible and scientific is right here, right now. All right, you can see me, you can touch it. You might get your shit twisted back if you touch me, but you know, the basics, right? But remember, man, you brought it to my attention, or one of us brought it to the other's attention. Once you crack that motherfucking Bible, man, you lose all common sense out the door, right? And I can relate to that, man. You know, that was my experience, you know, following that Christian faith, man. And so, you know, it's just, so I'm gonna show a little bit more of this, man, because he's gonna get into a few more things, man. I think I wish I could get him on here, man, you know, and so he can just defend himself a little bit. It wouldn't work, but
Man, listen, man. Ever since I left Christianity alone, right? Hebrew Israelites alone, you know, ever since I left those faiths alone, right? I'm in the Bible way more than any motherfucking body. That I guarantee you, I'm in the Bible more or just as much as your average preacher.
right, both of us.
Because I'm in it every day.
Yeah.
I mess with this Bible every single day, King.
Yeah.
Every single day, man. I'm in this Bible, man. I'm doing something in the Bible, man. Even if it's just looking up and see if that's what it really say,
Right, right,
right?
right.
I mean,
And I reference back to, a lot of the Bibles have the references, you can go back to whence that verse started from, man. So, it ain't just no quick stop in the Bible, man, because it's research. It's research. So instead of just reading. And it's about looking for, markers that can really I'm looking for somebody or some way to be able to convince me that, Christianity is the one, right? Is the one. You can convince me,
man, listen,
I'll be a
all
fool
I'm
not
saying,
to buy into it. So I'm always looking into that Bible, man, and not just to contradict, right? And because that's another ideal is that, we just use it to contradict and as ammunition, stuff to have ammunition against. So, it's just the misleading points that he made.
yeah, man. I, I'm like this here, man. You can, like, don't talk me into it. Show me something. Don't, but I'm open, right? I'm open as well, right? But my thing is, I don't want you trying to talk me into it. It's not gonna work. You got to show me something, right? You got to show some receipts, like we got to show receipts.
Yeah,
Everything we talk about, we got to show where we got it from,
right,
right?
right,
Right.
right.
So I'm just saying, like, always open,
Yeah.
man. But just don't try to talk. Don't. I don't want you trying to talk me into it, though. You know what I'm saying? Because
Belief and faith.
because I'm not, because I'm telling you, man, I'm not dealing with no. I'm not going to argue with your belief. I'm just not, man. I'm not going to argue with your belief. It's yours, man. And you're entitled to that, King, and you deserve that. Whatever the fuck you believe in that shit, you deserve it. You know what I mean? I mean, especially if somebody's showing you in your face. I mean, you can't undisputable evidence, and you still decide to go that way. Well, now, man, like, shit, man, like, okay, I'm, I'm gonna see you. I'm gonna
Right.
see you, man. But just keep that shit to yourself, though. That's all. You
Yeah,
know, just keep
yeah.
it to yourself, man. Because it ain't gonna work outside yourself, man. It just don't, man. Because that's just it's something just for you. It ain't fun. You know what I'm saying? It don't work outside yourself.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's just your belief. That's all it is. It's just something that you believe. You ain't sure. You don't know. You just, fuck it. I believe it. Fuck it. I believe it. Yeah, man. I hear people say it all the time. Hey, look, I hear people tell you all the time. Oh, I don't believe that. Oh, I don't believe that. I mean, listen, man. Because you don't believe it, don't mean it ain't true, man. I mean, hey, man. Hey, that's on you, man. I ain't got nothing to do with what your mind do to you, or what you let it do to you. You know what I'm saying? If your mind tell you no, I'm gonna reject that, then you gonna reject that, man. But when you turn that corner, a motherfucker hit you with that bat, then you gonna be like, God damn it, he just told me. Now I got staples in my shit. You know what I mean? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know what I mean? I just told you don't go around that corner, man. The dude got that bat. Now you
Right.
don't believe me. That's a belief now. Now, well, I don't believe him. I don't believe. So I'm going around that corner. Then you come back, your shit split.
Oh,
Now,
oops, upside the head.
yeah, now you talking about, damn, man. But shit, nigga, I just told you, nigga, around it, man. You know how I know? Cause I seen the nigga, man. Now, why you don't believe me? I'm just showing you proof. I just gave you proof that the nigga was around there because I seen the nigga. But you don't believe me. Yeah. Or I tell you, I got a motherfucking house for you, man. It's 50 grand right now, man. 4-bedroom, right? Nigga,
Yeah.
you believe me.
Right, right.
I made it sound good, right? And you believe me. You give me the money, man, and now you beat, right? And now you beat, man. But it's just it's a belief, King. But you'd have known had you went and did the research. You'd have known,
Right,
right?
right.
You ain't had to. So that at that point, you ain't got to bleed no more.
Yeah.
Now you ain't got to bleed no more because now you know. You ain't
Yeah.
got to bleed no more, man. When you know, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So you got this
Go
cat,
ahead.
man, that's you know, doing research and still locked in. You know, that's amazing to me, man. It's just utterly amazing. All right.
That come with that. I'm telling you, man. See, so there was just, you know, that come with a lot of stuff, man, because people know and see, but you know, it depends on who you got, who's watching. See, it's, you know, so we don't know who this dude got watching, man. His whole family probably came up as a Christian. They probably got churches. You know what I mean? Had churches, right? You know what I
Right.
mean? So for him to go against that, oh man, shit, man. And you know, and now he's a doctor, Dr. Vince Bantu. Oh, oh no. Yeah, we
Yeah, yeah,
go,
yeah.
go ahead, King.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So let's get back to it.
Said was his brother and killed him. So first of all, they believe in a God that can be killed. And also the second point. We have to be able to respond to this claim that, you know, oh, everything y'all read in your Bible is just a copy from Egyptian religion. Well, let's look at that, right? Because a lot of times people in this community, they'll be basing their faith and theology off of a YouTube video they watched or off of some blog that has no kind of like actual research and actual engagement with primary text. But when we look at the primary text, and I've just named a few right here, like the hymn to Osiris, the contingents of Horus and Seth, the Metternich Stela. These are some of the pivotal Egyptian ancient pharaonic texts that talk about Horus and Isis, because that's usually the point where they go when they say everything you're believing in is all a copy from Egypt. Well, let's look at that. When we look at these texts, we read the stories and we actually see, and I'm just kind of summarizing, but again, you can go read these texts for yourself. And because again, most Quebec people don't even really read them, honestly. And that's, I mean, you know, which is part of the problem. They have these beliefs, they don't even read their own, you know, holy texts. But when you read them, you see that actually Osiris, he actually committed adultery with Seb's wife, and that's why he was killed. So Seb was his brother and killed him. So first of all, they believe in a God that can be killed, and also who commits adultery. We believe in a God who's perfect, who's not like a human, that he should sin, and also is eternal, was, is, and is to come. Big difference already off the bat. Alset, his wife, then
Hey, can you pause that?
Body that Seb had cut up, but she wasn't able to locate his penis, and so she hovered over his body.
You want me to go back?
Yeah, that was crazy, man.
You want me to go back or are you good?
Yeah. Go back just a little bit, man, because that was sick right there, what he just said.
Well, a bunch of this shit was sick.
I mean, but go ahead, go back a little bit.
Texts that talk about Horus and Isis, because that's usually the point where they go when they say everything you're believing in is all a copy from Egypt. Well, let's look at that. When we look at these texts, we read the stories and we actually see, I'm just kind of summarizing, you can go read these texts for yourself. And because again, most Quebec people don't even really read them, honestly. And that's, I mean, you know, which is part of the problem. They have these beliefs, they don't even read their own, you know, holy texts. But when you read them, you see that actually Osiris, he actually committed adultery with Seb's wife, and that's why he was killed. So Seb was his brother and killed him. So first of all, they believe in a God that can be killed, and also who committed. We believe in a God who's perfect, who's not like a human, that he should sin, and also is eternal, is and is to come. Big difference already off the bat. Alset, his wife, then, you know, reassembled his body that Seb had cut up, but she wasn't able to locate his penis, and so she hovered over his body, and then the text says that she drew his semen into herself. That is nothing like the Immaculate Conception of Mary, who was conceived by the Holy Spirit. And there's and also Mary's not a god, whereas Set is thought to be a god by Egyptian people. So again, nothing like you know. But they will say you know, Set was conceived by the Holy Spirit, just like Mary was. But again, that's not at all what happened.
So you want to say something about that?
Yeah, man. So
Yeah.
Asar committed adultery. but the Holy Spirit didn't commit adultery with Mary. When she married to who she married to Joseph?
Right.
So the Holy Spirit didn't commit adultery with Mary?
Right.
I'm just kind of quick. I mean, and it wasn't even God. It was the spirit of the Lord. Who was it? It wasn't even the Lord. It was the
Spirit.
angel of the Lord. It was the angel of the Lord.
Right.
Right. so now who committed adultery, King? And then like he talking about a Asar could be killed. Shit, they killed Jesus, did they?
Exactly, man. And then they still referring to the Nile Valley as real, as these are real people, right?
But yeah, right. But
You know, they're still referring to them as they're real people and that they're God, right?
right. See, now that's another thing. Another thing, because he's playing it like he's putting us in the same biblical lens that they are on.
Exactly. And that
Right.
ain't fair, man. That's the misleading stuff, man, that they
So now
obviously doing.
So now you're putting your narrative on ours, like so because you saying your God can't be killed, or so you got a God. See, that's not a God. A Asar is a principle.
Right.
And he's a nature because he's dealing with agriculture.
Right.
And listen, man. So he's many principles, right? These clowns forever trying to put you in. Well, my God, see what they mad about is they God ain't delivered on what they God promised, and so they looking at anywhere else outside that, except for they want to go outside they God and look for the why your God ain't saving the world. Nigga, our God we ain't got no God that ever said that.
Right.
You do.
Right.
You got a God that said that, right? Right? You got a God that said that. We ain't got no God to say that. Y'all do. And but you mad at us because your God ain't delivered on that shit. You know what I mean? And then we point and then get even more mad when we point it out.
Right. And then if you do the history on the just the Genesis, man, the first books of the Genesis, you find easily that that's a war god, right? And they don't want to talk about those other entities that are involved in all that stuff. And then so it's frustrating to me, man, because they pump that narrative as if our principles are real human beings, and they put it into their narrative like they didn't borrow from our stuff, steal it, and hide it, right? And he said that we hid. He blatantly said that we hid our own history, right? That's cold, man. That is real cold.
Yeah,
and
imagine
he
that.
talked about being respectful and that Comedics are disrespectful. And I mean, that's just disrespect all the way through because we don't even claim none of that. All right.
Right. My thing is this though, right? Like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Because he's gonna give you some more to bite on. You can stop anytime.
As we see, Asar, after he was killed, went to become the Lord of the underworld. And so we don't believe in a God. The Father, Son, Holy Spirit is not the kind of doesn't go live in hell and reign in hell. That's actually where the devil is punished. And so big difference there. Heru or Horus was born in a swamp. Sometimes you read websites that are unsubstantiated saying things like, oh, Horus was born in a manger, just like Jesus was. No, he wasn't. He was born in a swamp. And they will say that Horus was crucified, just like Jesus was.
Who says Heru was born in a manger?
Well, They do kind of say that. They say that Ashraf Kwesi, I think, says that. Just like, I mean, and then what I was gonna say was when he was talking about the immaculate conception. See, it's still the same concept, King. It's right. It's still the same concept, man. They're showing you resurrection right here. When they got a Sar and a Set, when she hovers over him as and listen to this, as the bird, right?
Right. As a
Right.
dove.
And so she takes in the seed. Now you explain to me, how did the angel of the Lord
Impregnate
Mary?
Mary.
Now how did that work out? Right. And then, like I said, I just want to reiterate, make sure we say this. When it comes to the adultery, since Sar was supposed to have committed adultery and mess with Set's wife. So you mean to tell me that Joseph wasn't married to Mary and the angel of the Lord came in and got her pregnant? So that's some adultery right there for your ass right there, boy.
Yeah, that's messing with
And
kids.
then come and tell you later on, look here, man, don't worry about that. Right, what happened the other night? Don't, you know what I'm saying? But I took care of that. She gonna be good. You hey, got your little boy coming, baby. All right. Don't you worry about a thing, baby boy. Me and you, right? Don't tell nobody. Me and you, all right? Don't trip. I got you. And then he rolled out. Right. I mean, like, what's the difference? Go ahead, King. I'm through.
No, man, that's good. That's good stuff, man. That's real good stuff. So, it's well known that they, married off young kids and stuff like that, but that's their fallback. That was the times back then when the Holy Spirit could go ahead and rape that little girl, right? And that's okay. Now, a lot of the Hebrew Israelites, man, believe that it's okay to mess with kids. So, yeah.
No, he wasn't.
I was gonna say too. I know something about Haru and the lotus flower. Now I don't have that receipt right now, but I'm gonna bring it back up and if I'm right and if I'm wrong, I'll make that known too. Are you familiar with that?
What was it?
With Haru being relatable to the lotus flower.
Well, Haru always has his 4 sons standing on the lotus flower.
Right, exactly. So there's some correlation there with he's talking about the swamp and then how Haru was born. But what I know, and then that's when I first started studying with you, was the relativity of the lotus flower in Haru. Right?
But here's the thing, though. Now, I'm not going to say that he's wrong because there's many stories.
Right.
So, because there's many stories. I mean, so that very well be maybe one of them. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I get that.
He didn't die at all, and he was certainly not crucified, nailed to a cross. But his uncle Seb attempted to assassinate him by sending a scorpion to bite him and poison him. But he didn't die because Al-Set prayed for him, prayed to Ra, Amun-Ra, who's the great god. Which, by the way, that's a difference too, because you're saying Haru is God and Al-Set and Al-Sar are God, but they have a God that they report to who is God over them and can either take away or give them their power. But Jesus has all authority. Jesus is God. Before Abraham was, I am. Christians don't believe that Jesus is like a lesser God than God the Father. And so that's another major difference right there. But also the stories were not at all the same thing. And then also Ra then declared that Seb and Haru had to compete in
So remember I asked that question. What if Jesus would have said, nah, skip all that, man. I ain't letting them beat on me. I ain't carrying no cross through, and I ain't dying on no cross and talking to 2 other niggas dying on the cross.
Then God would have killed him, just like he killed everybody else that don't do what he said.
I'm just saying that exactly, right? And
So
I'm
he was
just
gonna die
saying,
anyway. Either way it go, he was dying, man. So I mean, you know, you ain't got it ain't about what you want at this point. It's about what it is.
yeah, yeah, and that's what it was, man, because he had to be obedient, and he's saying he has all power and all choice and stuff, and
Yeah,
so
they
I
say he was
so
obedient.
you know, and that's all good. But what I'm just saying is, wonder what the hell would happen. We know he would have got killed, man. But what I'm
He
saying is,
dying anyway. If he get
it,
crucified, he
yeah,
dying. Or if he
it,
don't get crucified, he dying. So I
yeah.
mean, like, what you
It
gonna do?
could be a potential another event that happened, right? Or something, you could have been on the left side of God instead of the right hand of God, sitting up there. But I don't know. That's just a question, what if he didn't, right?
Man, look,
What
it
if he
didn't make it.
used his power and said, you know what, man, this is Mickey Mouse shit. What
Listen,
the hell
man,
I gotta go get beat up and I'm the man, right?
I'm gonna tell you something else too. Had he not, so be like, I'm gonna say this: nothing would have changed had he, whether he got his ass up on that cross or he didn't get his ass up on that cross. Ain't right? Ain't
Hey,
nothing there.
you stuck with that narrative every time I bring it up, man.
It don't matter. It don't matter whether he on, because listen, man, motherfuckers still sinning. Everybody's still sinning. Everybody, right? And so I'm just trying to figure out what's the point. And you start out in the hole, like she said. You start out in the hole because you was born in a sin, so you start out in the hole, and so you steady trying to work your way out. And according to the Bible, you you ain't getting out.
And then
Okay,
according to Revelations, only 144 gonna get in anyway.
and
Right?
that was and how long ago was that?
Yeah. Right,
Yeah, that's
right.
my question. How long ago was that? When did that start? That's what I'm trying to say. When did that? Because there ain't a lot of people if you think about it. 144,000 people. And so when did this shit start? I mean, so can we count this like what, 325 maybe? Can we take it back that far? Or can we even go back farther? I mean, however you want to look at it. If we can go back to we can just go back to 325. You don't think 144 made it so far yet?
Yeah, and then they got the prophets and the
Hey, listen,
disciples.
just think about how many people,
Yeah.
how many people's on the earth, how many people die per year, right? And go from 325 to present day, and show me how many people died, and then how many people out of that you think then went to hit made it to that 144. My thing is now it's 2023. We talking about we talking about you know some years, maybe we talking about some years from now, right? Now, how you don't think 144 done made it yet?
Right, right, right.
Right? I'm just saying. You, I mean, I'm gonna guess that they probably, I think they done sold out all the tickets. Ain't no more tickets. It's a wrap. Door closed. They ain't letting nobody else in.
Don't close.
Right? It's a
Thumbs
wrap.
down.
Go, hey, everybody else down here. Hey, you just down here.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
That's what it is, King. That's it. Everybody else that's down here, you just down here because they already got they full up. They took capacity right now.
And a
And
house with a house with many mansions.
then they got some, and I'm sure they got some backups. I'm saying, look, this nigga don't work out, man. We got about, what I mean, probably a couple
Right.
thousand there on the side right here, man. So, what I mean, like, so.
But y'all ain't in it.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say, man, they already picked their 144, I believe, man. So I mean, I feel like if you still thinking that you're gonna get in and you still following this damn book, hey, you wasting your damn time.
Hey, keep going for a minute, man. I'm gonna
Hey,
look up
cause
this one.
I'm
I'm
just
gonna look
saying,
up
cause
this
the
one
whole point
verse.
is to make it to the whole point of this is to make it to heaven. If heaven is full, right? Now what's the point?
144,000.
Yeah, yeah, because you know why? Because after it says after the 144,000, you gotta shut that door, man. After the 144,000, listen to this. The rest is gonna be the slaves to the 144,000. Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me read this to you. So
Uh-oh.
this is 1 Timothy 1,
Tim,
chapter
who?
1.
Hey, now hold on, Tim. Who wrote Timothy?
I think Paul wrote Timothy.
Okay, God damn it, old Paul. Okay,
All right. So this says, I urge you, as I did when I was on my way to Macedonia, to remain in Ephesus, so that you may instruct certain people not to teach any different doctrine, and not to occupy themselves with myths and endless genealogies that promote speculation rather than divine training that is known by faith. But the aim of such instructions is love that comes from a pure heart and a good conscience and a sincere faith. Some people have deviated from these and turned to meaningless talk, desiring to be teachers of the law without understanding either what they are saying or the things about which they are making assertions. So that says a lot right there. And I know it gets into the two people that committed the greatest sins against God, right? But that's still making a lot of noise right there. Not to occupy themselves with myths and endless genealogies that promote speculation rather than divine training. That leads me back to how important it is for us to not pay attention to any of our ancestral teachings, right? Or give acknowledgement to our ancestral work. And Jennifer just shared an experience that she had, and that's ancestral, right? That's our people coming back and doing their thing, right? And so, but pay no attention to any of those myths, genealogies that promote speculation rather than the divine training that is known by faith. That's all I wanted to say about that right there. The divine training that is known by faith. Stay blind, just dismiss everything else, right? Just dismiss. You was just talking about it, Jamie. You can show them right in the face, and just dismiss all that, right? That's a sin, right? To take any of that on. So I just wanted.
it ain't a sin. It ain't a sin if, because I'm sure they can find another scripture to tell you that they ain't supposed to be listening to falsehood.
That's it. Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
I mean, hey man,
Yeah.
So how do you determine what's falsehood? That's my thing, because
Yeah.
it don't coincide with what your belief.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So but how do you? But I'm saying though, does that determine it falsehood, or is that just something you just don't believe? Because falsehood is what? That's just not true. That's untrue, right? But what if
Right.
it's true? What if it's true and you just don't believe it, right? It's true, but right.
Right.
All right, man. All right. I don't know if I said that right, but okay.
Yeah, you said that right. Yeah, you said that right. Yeah. That was real slick. Really plain to understand, Jamie.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. If I present something false to you, if I present something true to you, then you just believe that it's not true.
Yeah,
right?
but see, there we go with belief again. You see, so
Yeah.
that and belief can be fun, right? Because you get to. I'm just saying. Listen to. I mean, just pay right. Look, it can be fun, Ken, because you get to believe what you want to believe, and you ain't gotta believe if you don't want to. And if you want to, you can. You know what I'm saying? And that's up to you. And listen, man. Listen, man. You don't know how many people right now believe in say dragons right now. There's people, but they ain't gonna tell you, right? But they believe it, King. They ain't gonna tell you. But you just don't know them, right? You just don't know, man, right? You'll never know, right? Unless they just tell you. But you know, how many people that's just like that won't tell you that believe in fairies or fucking leprechauns or something, right? Right? I'm just saying, King, like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's people that'll tell you that I believe in unicorns. I believe in you, but they ain't gonna tell you that. I mean, but they believe that though, man. But that's they believe. So that's why I say it can be fun because you can have fun with belief, man. You can have fun with it, man. It can be fun, man. You know, you can believe in Spider-Man because look, if you want to do, you can say, hey, and if you had a good, a real good convincing argument, you could convince them up with a Spider-Man God, right?
Right.
It's just,
One of his
it's all about,
boys, one of
it's
his
all about it.
boys at least.
It's all about it. If you, it's just how far you willing to go on your belief. That's just, that's just, you know, that's personal. Just, you know what I mean? Some people go for it, some people ain't going for it. I mean, it just depends on how far they willing to go, man. That's just how I look at belief. That's just belief, man. You know, don't mean it ain't true.
Yeah, we got about 7 more minutes of this, and it should be good.
In a fight together to rule Egypt, and Set deceived Seb, and then Heru was able to rule Egypt. And that even is a difference in of itself, is that the end goal in Egyptian religion is all about who rules Egypt. And Heru's main goal was to become the ruler of Egypt and overthrow Seb. But again, that's totally different because Jesus' main goal in coming to earth, taking on flesh, dying on the cross, and rising again was to make humanity, not just Egypt, but was to, and also not to be a political ruler of one nation, but his goal was to make humanity, all of humanity, right again with God through faith in Jesus Christ and by atoning and by taking on and bearing the sin of humanity. That's not at all what Horus's goal was. So again, even just from a quick glance, but go read those texts, some of those primary texts and many other ancient Egyptian texts, and you'll see that there's very little in common. In fact, they have more in common. Ancient Egyptian mythologies have more in common with like Babylonian and Sumerian religion than they do with Christianity. And that's why Christians are being persecuted left and right, because unlike most religions who were polytheistic and had no problem syncretizing and fusing other gods together, Christians were saying, no, we worship nobody but Jesus. So even just the strict monotheism of Christianity in and of itself is a very vast distinction in the ancient religious context and makes it very distinct from Egypt and far from a copy. The last point I want to make is that not only was Christianity not a copy of Egyptian religion, Kemetic religion, but actually when Kemetic people became believers, they actually resisted white supremacy and white colonial rule even better than the traditionalists did. And I'm saying traditionalists instead of pagan because, again, I want to be respectful. But the traditionalists, and what I mean by that are Kemetic people who worship and believe in Al-Sar, Set, Heru, and all that. The traditionalists, when they became conquered by the Ptolemies, in the 4th century BC, they began to just fuse Greek gods with their own. In fact, there's nothing more. There's a picture of it right there with Serapis, the Greek god. There's nothing more vividly narrates or depicts the punking that was going on. Like the Roman Empire came in Debo to Egypt and said, you belong to us now because we want your grain supply. You know, Europeans been colonizing Africa for the resources since day one and still are. Came in, colonized them, but they said you can still pray to your little, Egyptian gods like Isis, but we're going to put Serapis, we're going to remove Osiris, who is her husband, and we're going to put our Greek god. So literally, their male god comes in and moves away the male god of Egypt and takes the wife of Egypt. That is a symbol for how the Greeks came in and colonized Egypt, and the Egyptians just went right along with it. They prayed to Sarah.
You see, that's some bullshit, man. That's really disrespectful. Right? It's really disrespectful because he's totally minimizing the influx of the invasion, right? And the forcibility that took place from the hospitality given to them over and over and over again.
Hey, listen, man. Now, see, this is the shit I'm talking about right here. See, can you rewind that like a couple of seconds?
Yeah.
You belong to us now because we want your grain supply. Europeans.
Let me go back further.
For the resources since day one and still are. Came in, colonized, But they said you can still pray to your little, Egyptian gods like Isis, believe in Al-Sar, Al-Set, Heru, and all that. The traditionalists, when they became not a copy of Egyptian religion, Kemetic religion, but actually when Kemetic people became believers, they actually resisted white supremacy and white colonial rule even better than the traditionalists did. And I'm saying traditionalists instead of pagan because, again, I want to be respectful. But the traditionalists, and what I mean by that are Kemetic people who worship and believe in Al-Sar, Al-Set, Heru, and all that. The traditionalists, the last point I want to make is that not only was Christianity not a copy of Egyptian religion, Kemetic religion, but actually when Kemetic people became believers, they actually resisted white supremacy and white colonial rule even better than the traditionalists did. And I'm saying traditionalists instead of pagan because, again, I want to be respectful. But the traditionalists, and what I mean by that are Kemetic people who worship and believe in Al-Sar, Al-Set, Heru, and all that. The traditionalists, when they became conquered by the Ptolemies, in the 4th century BC, they began to just fuse Greek gods with their own. In fact, there's nothing more. There's a picture of it right there with Serapis, the Greek god. There's nothing more kind of vividly narrates or depicts the punking that was going on. Like the Roman Empire straight came in, deboed Egypt, and said, "You belong to us now because we want your grain supply." Europeans been colonizing Africa for the resources since day one, and still are. Came in, colonized them, but they said you can still pray to your little, Egyptian gods like Isis, but we're going to put Serapis, we're going to remove Osiris, who is her husband, and we're going to put our Greek god. So literally,
all right, hey, stop it right there.
Male god comes in and moves.
See, this is the shit I'm talking about with this dude, man. See, there's no way, right? Because at that point that he's talking about right now, at this very point, there is no fucking Jesus. There's no such thing as a Jesus at this point in time. You hear me, King?
Right.
Nobody even heard of a Jesus at this point in time, King.
Right.
At this point in time, this is when he's talking about the Ptolemies came in. Now he's saying it like Kemet had just turned. This is how they turned. No, this is how when the Ptolemies came in and conquered, this is what they did. They forced them, the scribes, to write that Coptic shit, right? That's where you get the Coptic Christians from. That's when they started rewriting. That's when they wanted, and that's when they wanted Serapis. This is when Ptolemy came in and they implemented Serapis.
Correct.
Right. At that point, there was no Jesus.
Right.
And he don't mention that. Right. He don't mention that. Jesus don't come until after Constantine. Well, not because it was a little bit before Constantine. But it wasn't, like I said, it was the Coptic and I don't know why they call it Coptic Christianity, because it had nothing to do with anything that's in the King James Bible today. It's totally different, right? Right. Yeah. So, but even then, but see, this is where these cats get it all twisted. Yeah, they did. They took the Apis bull, and they took Osiris and they made Serapis. And that's where that name came from. Right? And then they drew up a damn picture and it made up a statue because so the Greeks had something to worship, and then they left up the statue so Kemet could have something to worship too. But they couldn't see their people worshiping a black African a statue. That's why they did. That's why they did that. So see, this is why this dude. Okay, I like to have his ass, and I ain't even no motherfucking seasoned debater, but I know I'll stump him on a few things.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. I mean, he had to backtrack way back, and I'm younger than you in it. All right, let's get it. That's a good point, man.
Away the male god of Egypt and takes the wife of Egypt. That is a symbol for how the Greeks came in and colonized Egypt, and the Egyptians just went right along with it. They prayed to Serapis and they prayed to Isis, and that's why they weren't persecuted. Think about it. Romans did not persecute Egyptians until they became Christian. Just think about that in and of itself. Egyptians were worshiping Egyptian gods and Greek and Roman gods, because Romans weren't, Romans didn't have a problem if you believe in other gods. You just have to pray to our gods too. You have to pray to Hercules and Serapis and all these other Roman gods, but you can pray to yours too. So that's what Egyptians did. That's what Syrians and North Africans and Carthage, like all the people that Rome conquered, they would allow them to fuse their gods together as long as they worship the Roman gods too. Christians were unique in the fact that they say, no, we don't worship anybody except Jesus. We're not worshiping any of these gods. And here's the other thing. Going forward, when the Roman Empire tried to call itself a Christian empire and, go throughout making Rome great again and trying to take
he skipped. You see that? You see what he just did?
They don't talk about.
You see what he just did? He just skipped. He just skipped like hundreds of years.
Right. Let's go back.
He just jumped over hundreds and hundreds of years.
Let's go back and then I'll stop again.
That's what he said. Moving forward, when he did
Right.
that, he just skipped over a bunch of damn history. He didn't want to tell you that Jesus didn't exist at that point. But he just tell you who, at this point, what they would say that who they worship is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ didn't even exist at that time. That's why he didn't mention Jesus Christ at that point in time, right? He did mention Serapis and he mentioned Asar. He never mentioned Jesus because he know Jesus didn't even exist at that point. See, this is where these cats get it off at, and then he's gonna say moving forward. Yeah, I bet you is, King, because you just skipped over a gang of goddamn time.
Right. So you on it, man. That's good.
Africans and Carthage, like all the people that Rome conquered, they would allow them to fuse their gods together as long as they worship the Roman gods too. Christians were unique in the fact that they say, no, we don't worship anybody except Jesus. We're not worshiping any of these gods. And here's the other thing. Going forward, when the Roman Empire tried to call itself a Christian empire and, go throughout making Rome great again and trying to take Christianity and make it its own thing, mechanism of oppression. Here's the other thing that they don't talk about, though, that yes, Constantine and other Roman emperors did that. But here's the other thing is that soon after, at the Council of Chalcedon in 451, there was a schism between the Roman church and the churches of Egypt and Syria and Arabia, basically the churches of Africa and the Middle East and Asia. They became split. And it was over an issue of Christology. The Roman church in Chalcedon said Jesus is, the way we talk about his humanity and divinity is that he's one person with two natures. Now that made sense in their Hellenistic mindset, but in Egypt in particular,
that refers to Arius in them, right?
That just busted. See that he just busted himself out right there.
Yeah.
He just busted himself out right there.
Yeah.
He's telling you what the conflict is right there. So he letting you know that they putting together Jesus at this point.
Yeah.
This is another council. This is the council after the
Council of Nicaea.
Right. This is probably this. Listen, you can go to the councils. It's like 6 of them, right?
Yeah.
It's like 6 of them. King, you can go to each one of the councils, right? One of the council he's talking about is after the council of Nicaea. There's 2 councils of Nicaea, right?
Right.
Listen to this, man. So he's going past. He's in the 400s now.
Right.
Listen now. He's in the 400s at this point, King. Right? Not so he's busting himself out because he's busting himself out, man. Constantine dead now. Now they on another constant. They on another this is why everybody split. Because now he's just telling you why, and he just busted it out. He just busted it out. They trying to give the people the concept of this Jesus. They trying to give these people on how to worship this Jesus, and he just busted it out. Listen to him. That's crazy. And then listen, I'll tear his ass up, man.
Yeah, I caught that part too.
And I'm a straight amateur, and I'll tear his ass up.
Right. Yeah, he well educated.
Who were one of the main people that resisted this. That didn't make sense. To them, that sounded like the council was saying that there's 2 different Jesuses. So they said, no, Jesus has one nature, but his nature is fully God and fully human. And so you will still see Western Christians, even Protestants, rejecting the ancient church of Egypt, saying it's not really Christian, and they haven't even read their own Coptic text. But here's an example right here. Look at this excerpt from the life of Daniel. This was written in the Egyptian language, and Daniel was an Egyptian monk who resisted the Roman Empire. The Roman
Coptic. Right.
Backing them up, and the Egyptian church was persecuted.
That's that Coptic bullshit.
Called Christian, on Christian violence that was going on for 200 years. It says here, and at the time the impious Justinian became emperor, he who was polluted and terrorized the entire world and the Catholic Church in every place. He endeavored to enforce the accursed faith of the defiled Council of Chalcedon everywhere and scattered the beautiful flocks of Christ. He chased the Orthodox bishops and archbishops from their thrones.
So let's
and
change the game.
Justinian was not satisfied with this, but he also disseminated the impious tome of Leo. Leo was the Roman Pope that you have kind of the Western Church and the Western government working together, and he wrote a tome or a letter saying Jesus is one person and two natures, and the Egyptians weren't down with that. It says, which the tome of Leo, which the impious Council of Chalcedon had accepted. He propagated it everywhere that lay under his control in order to make everyone subscribe to it. But when it was brought to Egypt, notice the way that Egypt is being, contrasted in this text with the oppressive Roman Empire and their oppressive theology that they were trying to impose on the Egyptian church. It says when it was brought to Egypt, a great disturbance occurred among all the Orthodox faithful. Notice how they're calling Egyptians Orthodox faithful, and they're calling the Romans the impious, polluted people. A great disturbance occurred among all the Orthodox faithful who were in the land of Egypt, and it was brought to the holy mountain of Scatis in order that our holy fathers might subscribe to it. Now the text goes on and shows that Daniel comes out and he tears up the tome and he says, we don't want your theology, right? Because they had their own Egyptian theology. So again, why am I pointing this out? I'm saying that if you look at Egyptian church history, you will see that they became ostracized and oppressed by the Roman church, Christian on Christian oppression and violence. And when the Roman Empire was attempting to colonize, theologically colonize, and make the Egyptian church subscribe to their particular theology that really didn't make sense and didn't seem orthodox or retet, to use an Ethiopian term, to the Egyptian church or the Kemetic Urpa, they resisted it. Now, what did the traditionalists do when the Romans came in and told them, you better pray to Serapis? They went ahead and did it. They let themselves get punked. They let themselves get deboed. But when the Egyptians were believers in Christ Jesus, notice that not only
See, that's just really disrespectful, man. That they just let themselves get deboed, right? That's just really disrespectful.
But see, that's the thing I'm talking about right there, man. Now he's talking about how they got colonized and see, man, see, and then he's steady telling on how they are structuring this Jesus Christ thing, right? And you seeing that he's saying that that Kemet had their own structure.
Right.
Now explain to me, if this is the all-knowing, the creator God, how is it that your information come from off the walls of Kemet? Or another question is, how did your information get on the walls of Kemet then?
Right.
That's my question. How did your information get on the walls of Kemet? How did you know about the Lord of Lords, King of Kings?
Yeah.
Right. How did you know about that?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
How did you know? Right. How did you know about that, man? How did you know about any of the Jesus stories? How did you know about that? Where'd you get that from, man? Out of the 36 of them that was out there.
Right.
Where'd you get yours from? Okay, so it may not have came direct. Okay, so say this here. Say Kemet was the first story. If you was the last story, okay, so maybe you got it from the one that was before you. Okay.
Right.
But it still came from where?
Came from Kemet, man, because that's at the top.
That's
Number
right,
one.
King. So okay, so you can say that then. Okay, so it did. Okay, so if Kemet is the first story that brought that, to have that story, right? Then how is it that you the last person to get the story? Okay, you the last person to get the story, but you didn't copy the story from us. Like how was that, man? The concept of the story. Okay, it might not be written word for word, but the concept of the story is the same.
Right.
There was a birth, there was a death, and there was a resurrection. That's the concept of the stories, right?
Right.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, and it sounds like he's defending the Romans and the Greeks,
Yeah, because he's saying when the Romans come in, now because before that he was saying that Rome wasn't dealing with Christianity. Then he skipped those years. Remember, I just told you,
Yeah.
he skipped those years, and then Rome now is dealing with Christianity.
Right.
Right? Just, I mean, this shit, man. That's why I be talking about this Mickey Mouse shit with these dudes, man. These, I'm just saying, man. Like, I mean, and like I said, if you just all you gotta do is just listen to them. You gotta listen. You just listen to them, and I tell you, man. Hey, man. If you bring it out to them, King, guaranteed they're not gonna better make it make sense, man. If you bring it out to them, but when he's flowing like he's flowing. It's kind of, he kind of make it. You think it makes sense.
Yeah.
You think it makes sense, but it don't really make sense, King. You know, because he's flowing good. You know what I'm saying? But and you think it makes sense. You
And
believe.
the new Jack just can't watch this, man, and pick that out, man. That's just flat out, But in the head, man, you would have to have questions. I think that's universal. You would have questions, but damned if you ask them. All right. And damned if you formulate one with etiquette enough to share it. Right. And I think that's the shame of it, man. And like I said, man, the dude trying to it sounds like to me that he's even disrespecting more by validating the Romans and the Greeks' behavior.
Right? Like as it, and then playing it as if Kemet just went right along with it. Like, hey, come on in, man, and we'll just go with y'all shit. Nah, man, that shit. And then he said they was colonized theologically. Man, how do you would you cut it out, man? You can't theologically colonize no damn body, King. You got to come in, do your killing, and tell a motherfucker, this is what you gonna be worshiping. And if I catch you worshiping this shit, hey, off with your goddamn head. And let me give you an example. Line these niggas up right here. Right?
Right.
You feel me? I'm just saying, man. You know what I mean? That's how the fuck you gonna do that, man. That's how they've been doing it. And then and I don't know how else do you see? I would have to ask that. How do you theologically colonize a people?
Right.
Explain that, King. How would you go about that? Because you sound like a real good spokesperson, right?
Yeah.
To colonize a motherfucking nation. You sound like you could do a real good job at talking to motherfucking giving you their shit.
Yeah. And so they came over to America, and it's historically that way. Right? It's historically that way. Give me your shit. We got you. Let me find your weakness, and we're gonna massage that, and then we're gonna throw this book at you, man. And then the slaves gonna get we're gonna take out everything that they can even consider oppositional. All right.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's how you colonize theologically, right? But that ain't got nothing to do. That colonizing theologically ain't got nothing to do with a whole goddamn nation you invaded, right? It has to do with the brutality, right?
Listen, you can't colonize. Check this out. You're not gonna be able to colonize a people theologically, just theologically. Nobody's gonna you're not gonna come up to me and start talking to me about your religion, and I'm gonna roll with you.
Yeah, you gotta use brutality, man.
Ain't no question, King. That's how it's coming, man. You gonna come in and you gonna smash through. You gonna brutally. You gonna come through that motherfucker like a whirlwind. You gonna come through that motherfucker like a tornado. You gonna tear up everything, kill everything moving, right? And you know what I'm saying. Most everything moving, and you know what I'm saying. And you gonna take that motherfucking area, man. And then from this point on, this is what we doing, and this is how we doing. And anything different, you can either roll the fuck out, or you can be up on that stake up there with your head, between your goddamn legs right there.
Yeah. I mean, skin stretched all over like the Syrian government did.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm just saying, man, like, you know what I mean? Or you be that nigga right there with them tires wrapped around your ass on fire. You see, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, King.
They had already had a long history of rejecting Egyptian paganism, but they also said, we're not going to accept your particular theology because we already have our own. They kept it real, not only for the Bisrat, the gospel, but they even kept it real for their Egyptian identity and said, we don't need to get this European church. We have our own beautiful church tradition. There's already an African vibrant church tradition, and we don't need to be imposed upon by your European church tradition. And we're still dealing with that today. But that is a contradistinction between the same Egyptian people, when they had faith in Christ, that it took them deeper in their ethnic identity. And it took them deeper in a pride of their own Egyptian theology that they don't need to be imposed upon from a European one. And that's another way that we have to communicate the Bisrat more holistically, that again, being a Nazrawi or a Christian, as the Ethiopian word, does not take you away from your cultural identity. It actually completes it. That's what Paul says. He says a Jew is not only one who's one outwardly. So that's another way of him saying that I'm actually a true Jew, Paul is saying, because I'm completed in Christ. So being a Christian doesn't make you less black or less African. It actually makes you more black and more African, because God is the one who created black. And it's the same thing for everybody, because it's not just for black folks. Chinese, Korean, Nigerian, French, whatever. When we come into faith in Christ, we become completed because he made us in his diversity. And so these are just some resources that I hope are helpful as you represent the Bisrat or the gospel with our Kemetic fellow image bearers and neighbors in our community. Thank you, and God bless you.
It is. There we go.
Yeah, like I said, man, yeah,
As long as
See-
this page doesn't say
Hold
expired,
on a second.
eventually will happen. You can get 2 solar generators.
And Shenouda claims that there was thousands of Nubians, Blemmy's, and Nobodians who had taken shelter in.
All right, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, King, like after the Ptolemies was Greeks. After the Greeks, then the Romans came in, right? Okay, so that's the thing right there, right? So the Greeks is the Ptolemies. They had Serapis. Now at that point, now there was a point where they had Serapis and Jesus at the same time, right?
Right.
Yeah, and Jesus won the war.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm just saying, King, and everything and what he was subscribed. I mean, what he was describing was genocide of people, man. You know what I'm saying? They was killing them people, man. They was coming in, you know, crusading. That's that they was on like crusades, man. When they was coming through, man, and they was taking over, man. They come through and colonize your whole kingdom. It was, knock your ass off, man. Have you running off through the woods somewhere, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Like, I mean, that's what they was doing, man. And it wasn't like they just come in, hey y'all, look, man, this is what we doing now. We're gonna introduce y'all to this shit here, and y'all gonna roll. See, so all of a sudden now, all of a sudden, everybody else was taking Egyptian shit, but all of a sudden, once Egyptians got to Christianity, now they want to stand on it. That's how he was playing it, like and that's just
It's just disrespectful, man.
yeah. You gotta better show that, man, instead of just talking about it, because you did a whole lot of talking, and I don't see where you can some of that shit. I'm sure you can show about Asar and Aset and Set and Asar, and how they some of the battles, and Haru and Set, some of the battles that they had, right? I mean, there's different ones. I'm sure you could show one, right?
And the
talking-
Sire putting the, descending over the body, to create Haru and
Yeah, you
you show that there's many stories. Yeah.
You make sure you point out that okay, well, it's a story that says that Asar took did some with Seth's wife, and that was adultery. And I'm like, wow, man, like you can't find that all through the Bible, King. Starting off with I mean, like starting off with your God. I mean, like for real, man. I mean, You know, how did he have a son? Right? How did he have a son? You know what I mean? He got it on with another man's wife. I mean, so I mean, what'd you call that? Oh yeah, that's different. No, nigga, no, we ain't doing that.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
we ain't doing that, man. We ain't gonna do that. How's that? You know, show the difference. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, shit. That's the type of shit I'm talking about, man. Like, you know, they quick to point stupid shit out, man. Like, man, like, listen, man, where you think y'all got it from?
yeah, yeah.
That's why, you know what I mean? That's why I can always point it out to you because you got it from us. So I know where it's at in your shit. I
Yeah,
recognize our shit in your shit.
yeah. He made reference to the Ten Commandments, and you know, I just think it's really, I think it's something special, man, that, you know, the Nile Valley utilize principles, you know, and they specified that it was principles. They never said it was a God. They never said, you know, we're gonna come and save your ass, you know. You know, as a community, you can practice these principles and implement them and be good. And here's a figure to identify with, right? And then
Right,
you come to okey doke, man, with they said it's a God and all this and that, man. And so, you know, we do the same thing with their shit, man, but they claiming that shit is real, you know, ain't got no bone, nobody, no artifacts, no archaeology, all right? They got
right,
statues they made, you know, and I still believe Mary Magdalene, the guy told Mary Magdalene, don't you say nothing and let them go on with their little Easter tale.
hmm,
Right, right. That's
yeah,
you
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
have faith that there was meaning behind that, right? And you gotta believe that you know, if I don't believe that, then I'm going to hell.
I mean, just think about this, King. I mean, you got 42 laws, right? You got the 42 laws. You know, I guarantee you can find your 10 commandments in these laws.
Yeah.
Why you think you can find the 10 commandments in these laws, man? Because these laws came from what who they claim is Moses. Moses is the one who is responsible for these laws. But where do you think these laws came from, man? Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See how
From
that
his
was it,
from the teaching he was brought up in. But
exactly
Moses, but understand, folks, we don't believe that Moses was a real body.
right. True. Right.
All right.
Right. But I'm just saying, man, like look at these, man. Right. We can definitely find anybody can look this up, man. Oh yeah, you see that?
Yeah, I see that. The 42 confessions, yeah.
Now
Fabrics
y'all
of
look
Bonny.
now y'all look at this here, man. If y'all look at these, all you gotta do is look at them, right? All you gotta do is look at them, man. Pull them up, and then pull up your and then you can do a side by side comparison
The Ten Commandments.
with the 10 commandments, right? You can put them up side by side, and I'm guaranteeing you that you're gonna better get your 10 commandments out of there. And you know what I'm saying? And the reason why is because they gotta keep the story. They you know they gotta keep the story, man. They gotta put some truth and some lies in the story, man. Right? That's and you know and to make it more believable, right? So
Right.
you know, so they do gotta you know the 10 commandments. I mean, like I said, if you want to go with the story, Moses was first 40 years in Egypt. Okay. When he went out and wandered for his next 40 years, he was teaching Kemetic thought. That's all he do. Okay. That's all he knew. And guess what? That's all the so-called slaves knew. Because they were slaves. You said they were slaves for over 400 years. Am I correct?
Right.
Right. So they all they knew was Kemetic thought too. They didn't know nothing else either, King. All they knew was the 42. You know, all what they claimed to be slaves that Moses walked out of Egypt with, right? All of them had to be, they had to be, they was raised, they was enslaved for over 400 years. I mean, so come on, King, you ain't nothing but, you know, Kemetic, you and Moses. So you know, Moses and the whole crew, everybody
Right,
Kemetic, right?
right,
Yeah.
right.
So I mean, so just think of that story, man. So where did he get the Ten Commandments? He got it out of Kemet. Where did he get the first 5 books? He wrote those books according to Kemet.
Yeah, 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 and so on.
Right, because he knew it, but he knew the Hyksos got their ass whooped. He knew that shit. He knew the Hyksos got their ass whooped and ran out. He just put himself in that place. Cut it out, man.
And poor Arius, man, had to run down to join up with a whole nother crew, man, just to be safe and be able to travel and to, you know,
Yeah, man.
live somewhat of a free man. And how do you live as a free man when you just got jacked?
Just to survive, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, but you know, that's how they get on, man. But you know, they ignore that.
yeah,
All
yeah.
that. They'll
That's
definitely
what,
ignore that
that's
one.
what I was saying, man. You know, that's why my search is on the you know, the Council of Nicaea, you know, 325 AD, and with special emphasis on Arius, right? That's my thing right there, man. And then he just left all that out, right? And then implemented that, man, they just got deboed, right?
Yeah, I mean,
They just
they
let
let it happen.
themselves. They
Yeah,
just let themselves get deboed, like they laid down, say, come on, get me, right? Come on, get me, come on, take all my shit. That's how he presented it. Nothing like common sense would tell you, let alone if you study outside that Christian lens, right?
right. Hey, keep talking right quick.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, shit, I don't got much to say, man. You know, I just want to get Jamie riled up. Carrie, you got something you want to say?
No, I'm just listening.
Yeah, pretty interesting, huh?
It is.
Yeah, you get to
Yeah.
see how you know, they leave big gaps, and they you know, they had the nerve to say that we don't even, you know, Comedics don't even study their own literature. Are you
Right.
serious? We study ours and yours,
Right.
you know, and others. So
Right. Right.
we ain't scared about being excommunicated or denounced or called divisional, you know, because we use, um, critical thinking, really just common sense thinking, you know. You got to call it critical thinking because it's another level, man, coming up out of that slave ship, right? That slavery. Yeah. Did you want to say anything? I forgot. I know I asked you, but I started talking.
No, I'm good. I wrote down a lot of those names and I'm going to research them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm telling you, King. Hey, that was a good one, though. I liked it. I liked it, that one, man.
Yeah. I knew you would like that one, man. And you know, and I tried to find a fair one, man. You know what I mean?
Hey,
But
that was slick, man.
I kept running into some okey doke stuff, man. And meaning that like I ran into one with um Jabari and this same dude was having a debate, right? And the post sister, man, she was like, you know what? I know that there's contradicting things and troublesome stuff in the Bible, but that don't bother me at all. You know, it don't bother me at all. I mean, that's literally what she was saying, man. And I'm like, no shit, right? But that's because I remember, man, to just stay. And though I research outside, you know, but I didn't research outside the biblical lens. All right. That's what I didn't do. right? All this research and all these different demographics and cultures and ideals and stuff, but I didn't leave that biblical lens, to search out anything.
Hey man, listen, King. Like I told you, man. When I first started, right? Like I honestly, man, I was hurt, man. Hey man, I am not kidding you, King. I was literally hurt, man, because I had at that point I was really kind of studying the Hebrew Israelites at that point.
Right.
Right. That's that was what that was that's who I was dealing with. I was dealing with the Hebrew Israelites. Right. And and I'm telling you, man, like I was like my man, like I was watching, I would watch like these debates. I mean, not debates, but yeah, like different debates, different lectures, right? And this is before I had ran into the Kemetic thought, right? This is before this now. So at this point, I wasn't really hip to the Kemetic thought, but but uh but I kept watching and I'm like, yeah, okay. And they were shooting out good information, man. I'm all like, I got the Bible, I got my bookmarks, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, yeah, okay. Because I had been studying with them before, right? Um and so, you know, it was it was sounding good, man. It was, it's still though at that point, I still was having these questions, man, and I'm like, damn. So I'm listening to the Hebrew Israelites, man, and some of the questions they kind of hit on, but still, man, I still wasn't satisfied, man. And and I'm the type of person, man. If I'm not gonna quit, man, until I'm satisfied, or if I see it's a dead end, I'm gonna leave it alone. Boom. Right. So I'm going through it, man. I'm going through it, man. I'm watching the Hebrew Israelites, man, and I think I ran into a debate. It was a debate with a Kemetic brother, and I think it was Polite, and it was another Hebrew Israelite brother, and never heard of Polite.
Right.
So I'm sitting up here, man. I'm like, okay, let me see what's going on, right? Never heard of Kemetic thought. They was talking about it at this time. I'm like, okay, what is this shit here? So I'm listening, and Polite is crushing dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm listening. I'm like, God damn it! That's what the fuck I always wanted to say. That's all that I always used to say that same shit. But what? I'm like, damn. And then he was like, and then he was putting it in a different light, man. And then he was going through and talking about Kemet, and I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is this Kemet shit? So I started going into the Kemet stuff, and then I started seeing Sinetta TV. And when I ran into Sinetta TV, King, that was it, man. I started seeing all these Kemetic cats, and I started watching lectures, man. I'll tell you another brother I used to like too, man, was Dr. Ali Muhammad. He was another type brother, man, I used to like. And then I seen him get beat up. I seen Polite beat him up. And I was like, oh nah, man. I was like, I said, and so at that point, I started paying attention to Kemetic thought. And so I started kind of studying, and then I was listening to lectures, listening to debates. They always give you their sources and references, man. So I would write them down, man, and get to looking up shit. And man, I was like, man, at that point, man, I was getting hooked, because it was like it kept on leading me to different shit, and leading me to different shit, and leading me to different shit, man. And I was like, what in the fuck is this? Wait a minute, baby, I done found something, right? I'm like, wait a minute, man, something going on now. Wait a minute, where is this? Where is this coming from? And where is this stuff been, right? And I'm like, wait a minute, man. Like, wait a minute. Like, all these questions is the same questions that these dudes is posing and answering at the same time.
Right.
And then I'm seeing like they showing all the side by side. They doing the side by side comparison, King. They doing the, you know, they doing the study, right? They showing you. They ain't just talking you to death,
Yeah.
right?
That's why Crazy dropping that side by side verse for
They showing you, right?
Yeah.
And you like, whoa, wait a minute. And then so you'll go look it up yourself, and then you get to take your time with it. You know what I'm saying? And so like, oh man, it started getting worse and worse and worse, man. And then it started, dude. I started. I get up in the morning, get ready to go to work. I get to work. You know what I'm saying? I get started. I go into an apartment. This was in okay, so this was in when I was still in Michigan. I was still in Michigan when I was going through this, man. And I would put that shit on my earphones, man, and listen to these lectures as I'm working. And I see Eric getting on, man.
Yeah.
You know, so I would, and so I would put my headphones on, man, and I would listen to these lectures, man, as I'm working. And then, like, once I got off work, man, at my lunch, I'm listening to the lectures and debates. I'm listening to, and then when I'm getting home, I'm on my phone. You know what I'm saying? I'm on my computer. I'm pulling up stuff, man, and my wife don't even know at this point what I'm doing. But I'm stuck. Cause this shit is like, whoa, man, wait a minute, baby. You know what I'm saying? I done hit jackpot. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't stop, man. And I kept going, until I had to start taking breaks, man. Cause you know what I'm saying? I was like, wow, man, this shit was like, and I was like, at first it pissed you off. I mean, I was pissed, man. I was hurt. I was, disappointed, man. You know, man, because I wanted so bad, man, I wanted to believe in Jesus, oh Jesus, you know what I mean? I wanted to believe in Jesus. I wanted to be, I wanted to believe in God too. But it didn't work out, man. I kind of like studied myself up out of it, man. That's what I did, King. I kind of studied myself out of it.
Yeah. That's what it's always good to hear that history from you, man. Let me just send hey Eric, how you doing, King? I was just about to send you a message back. How you doing, Eric?
Hey, everybody, how y'all doing? Excuse me.
Hey,
Sorry,
man. Hey, man. So I want to send you this video that I played.
Okay.
And then get on like Messenger and talk with you about it, man.
Okay. All right.
Just hear what you got to say about it, man.
Okay, good. I'm down.
Hey, peace to you, King. Peace to you. How you doing, man?
How's everybody doing? Good, man. Thanks for the invite, man.
Oh man, all the time, King. You're gonna be invited there every Sunday, King, and during the week.
I'm sorry. I'm just getting home from work, man, and getting relaxed. Me and my wife and cook a little something, but yeah, I'm all in, brother.
Hey, it ain't no excuse for missing Sankofa at 2:00, King. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Hey, man, it's a pleasure and an honor just to have you for these moments. So I want to send you this video, man, and then get with us sometime during the week or something, man, and give me your swing on it, man. You know what you think about it. It's a whole lot to pick apart in there, and what it was is it's a video of what's that dude's name again?
Vince Bantu.
Vince Bantu, and he's a Christian. He's a Christian, man. But
I'm sure you heard of him, right?
Best Bantu, maybe by face. That name doesn't ring a bell on me.
Yes, all right. You'll probably recognize it. And even if not, man, to me, there's a whole lot of divots in there, right? Whole lot of divots, and so like I wrote down a few just to give you an idea.
Okay.
Are you familiar with
Nefer?
huh?
Raul Nefer?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so and I figured you would be. I figured you would be familiar with a lot of this stuff that I'm bringing up. See, I'm
Mhm.
not familiar. And what it
Okay.
was saying is that he brought the Kemetic thought into the United States in the 70s. And then also in the 70s, he started the Asar and Aset Society. You see, that's just
Mhm.
stuff. I'm not denying that. That's just stuff that I wasn't familiar with. Right.
Okay.
And then they said that he brought it to it started in the United States with a white community first.
With a white community, I wouldn't doubt it, seeing that they always want to kind of get in and get some information from somewhere else. They don't mind telling you though. They don't mind telling you. Some of them don't mind telling you that they got some information. Y'all got some information, but sometimes it's just us. It's some of them they'll tell it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
hold on.
I'm gonna send that to you, man, and then
I got a book by Raul Nefer.
decide what you want to bring up out of it, man, and share. And I
Okay.
trust that, you know,
I
and then
thought
I
I
can do
had
some
something.
research off of what you're sharing. And Jamie on the video, Jamie made a lot of clarifications and points with, you know, time and time skip that he shared, and he filled in the blanks and stuff like that. So, you know, if you get a chance to watch that, you know, too. But,
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch it today. So when you send it to me, I'm gonna start watching.
okay.
You know, I'll watch it this afternoon for sure. I was
Okay.
watching it last night, man. It was a 3-hour piece. But they did a heck of a job putting some information out there about Egypt. And this dude, he said he did this movie. I'm gonna send y'all the link. He did it in 2019, and I think he gave a little interview about it. He said that he had to redo it because he wanted to do it in English, did it in French. But he came, the way he put it together is very good because he come with all the theories they had about who built them damn pyramids. And then once they went through all the theories, they came with what they understood to be the truth. And it's very interesting how he did it. And the digital work, whoever did the graphics for the show itself, the documentary, oh man, they was on. And they give you an idea what the pyramids look like. Because what we see right now is definitely not what they look like in their highest point. You know what I mean?
Right,
But
right.
check it out. I'll send y'all a link on that. But how long y'all gonna be live here today?
Okay, I'm getting ready to get off.
Okay.
But man, I'm
Okay.
really interested in that, man. And also,
Okay.
also I watched that that video on what was it? One of them videos you sent about the Assyrians, right? Yeah, I got a lot out of it about
Which
the
one?
Assyrians. So I watched the
Oh
one.
yeah.
You sent two of them, and I watched the one not about Arius, but the one about where the Assyrian came from in the Ira language and Ira culture and stuff. That was really interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, man, it's interesting to see a lot of stuff out there. So just got to keep on, chipping at the bit, man, and cross reference and stuff like that. Because some of the stuff, it's kind of different. Because I know, there's a lot of different stuff. You got to see through it though. But we're gonna stay with fact and logic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's who them brothers who built them pyramids are doing, facts and logic. And once they understood that, that became science. And that's we stay in line with that. Your path will be guided for you. Yeah.
Right.
What I'm saying today, shit, cold piece because they talking about pi 3.14. That's pi, right?
Right.
It's geometric measurement. But dig this.
Hold on a second. Is that right, Carrie? My wife is a wizard with math.
Oh yeah, if she was with math, she know pi. She gonna love this.
Carrie, can you hear me?
Yes.
So was that pi right? That pi equation?
Say it one more time.
Pi, the video deals with pi.
Right.
Pi is what? What are the numbers that represent pi?
3.14, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna send y'all this link. I'll send y'all this link. And man, look here. It just confirms, it reaffirms what we've been studying. That lets us know we've been on the right path. But it also lets us know, like I said, these folks from France, they bringing the real. And the girl who talking, when they show her, you're gonna look like, you think she might be biracial, like she got some black in her family, but you watch how she changed the language on them and put things in order like they're supposed to go. But I ain't gonna say no more. I want y'all to watch it. Like, man, I was on fire, man. Look, I was driving to work this morning watching it again just because, you know. But it talks about a whole lot of that old Western thought that they put out there and made pretty much let that be the truth. I mean, hiding this stuff for a long time, but at the same time, they was telling us some nonsense. They was using pi and building their own shit. So
I love it.
But I gotta get y'all with Phil, man, because Phil was one of the main guys who got me in line. And he's the one I sent that website. I sent you the link to that website. What was it? I can't even say the name.
But we got the website. We got that. We got that.
Go through there and check out some of that stuff. He got a few videos in there, but we get with him because he's doing some other stuff. We get with him, man, and have a Zoom like this. Next Zoom, y'all invite him and let me know ahead of time so I can let him know. And
you just count us in, man, and then send us the information. We're gonna be on it.
Okay, so
we're gonna be on it.
When the next time y'all gonna get live?
So every Sunday. Every Sunday at 2 p.m. we always go live. Next week is for the kids though, right?
Okay.
We do a kids thing.
Okay, right? Cool.
Yeah, but we can do it anytime during the week or whatever, man. Whatever he wants to do and whatever you want.
Hey, well, we do a kids thing, and then after the kids thing, we usually open up, close that show, and then we open up for the adults.
Well, that's good because I'm off next Sunday. So I'll be open, and I'm sure Phil retired, so I'm sure he'll be able to get right with us, man. But especially if I can let him know now, start putting this in now.
Okay. So let's try to
let's do it. What about Monday or Saturday?
Monday.
Not really.
This coming up Monday.
Any Monday or Saturday.
Those days are fine too. Those days are fine too, especially like if I'm off. As long as after I get off at 2:30 Eastern time, so it take me about 30 minutes, 35 minutes to get to the crib. So as long as but I could tune in while I'm driving too. But all I gotta do is check with Phil and check his schedule and let him know, give him some dates, and then he'll put it in. Like I said, he retired, man. He loves having someone to rap with about this stuff because it ain't a lot of us, man. To be honest with you, to be real honest.
Hey, well, why don't we do something? We can go live, plan it to where maybe Phil can do we can do like some Q&A or whatever or something.
Yeah.
Or even let him lecture, man. I mean, or let him go ahead and just lecture, man.
Okay. And all I was saying is Sunday doing 2 sessions for me. I can't commit to that, because my shit gets a little weak, right? And sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can, and I can strain through it, but that ain't healthy, right? So I don't want to personally commit to 2 sessions on Sunday, even though we do that anyways, right? It's always available, right? And so I don't want you guys to stop doing whatever.
Yeah, but let's make sure that okay. So then I get it.
And then Jamie gets off of work at 5, and then he Eastern time, and then he usually works with his kids for a period of time. And then after that, it's game on, man.
Yeah,
Okay, so later in the evening then, because that might work pretty good too. Because Phil is in, I think he an hour here. He in
He in
let's see,
Iowa?
Kansas.
Okay, Kansas. So he's still Eastern time.
He's still Eastern.
Yeah, it might be
Same.
1 hour. It might be 1 hour
I
difference
think,
at
I
the
think
most,
it
right?
might
But
be 1 hour different. Yeah, but anyway, so later evening, that's fine too. I can just all I gotta do is chat with him, call
okay.
him, or text him, or
all right. So what day? What's a good day?
So let him chat with Phil and fix it up, and then call us and let us know, and then we'll be able to do it. You got our time schedule. Mine is flexible, and I'm 3 hours behind you guys, so
Okay.
it's all good.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right. So I'll reach out and send him some out today, this afternoon, and let him know what what we're trying to do here. And
Yeah,
you know,
because I want to do it live, man. I want to do it live, and I want to do it, what I'm saying? I want to do it
oh
live,
yeah,
King. So I mean, see if he make sure he's all right. I mean, see if he's all right with going live. If he's not,
going
then
live. Oh yeah. Okay.
If he's not, then we can just do it on Zoom.
right.
Oh, I'm sure he won't have a problem with it because he goes live on his own web page. His
Okay,
own
and
site.
then we can put up a flyer on Sankofa and these other two places that I put them in. These other two groups I put it
Okay.
in, and then
Yeah.
and then prepare for a Q&A or whatever you and Phil devised is going to be the presentation.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I'll let him know. I'll get send him a text or email today, and wait for him to respond. If I'm gonna respond from the email today, I'll just give him a call tomorrow after I get off work. I just figured by this afternoon, his wife might be chilling this after Sunday afternoon. So I'll text him first, I'll email him first and see if I get a response. But if I get a response, I might just call him more than likely, just let him know what the business is. But he'll be fired up. I'm telling you, man.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
Nice, man.
I'm all about it, man. I'm excited. Hey,
Hey,
so Jamie has Jamie put up a video too on Sankofa that was that he's really excited about with Shaka Amos. And are you familiar with Shaka, right?
Shaka from the Zulus.
No, Shaka Amos.
Shaka Amos from the what is he from? What group?
He ain't from no group. I mean, he's just he around our age, I guess, man, and he be doing a lot of scholarship, man. He's real deep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not.
So Jamie got a video up about him, man, that I'm going to jump into, but Jamie is really excited about it. And what was the plagiarism? About plagiarism, right?
Yeah, in the Bible.
Yeah. And we all three of us know about the 4 of us know about the plagiarism, but Shaka goes in.
Mm-hmm.
Shaka goes
Okay.
in.
Yeah, man. He always shooting something out there I ain't never heard before, man. Yeah, man.
That's
so and then he show you where to go to look for it at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have to check that out. And that's on Sankofa on the webpage, right?
Yeah, that's on Sankofa. Yeah. If I find it, I'll just ship it over to your messenger. So
I
you
got
ain't gotta
2
look
things
all
to do
through
this
it.
afternoon. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Hey, and tell the doctor, man, that he can join the group too, man.
Hey, like I said, he will be more than happy. Like I know he just moves around a lot and he does a lot of speaking. He's working on trying to get a curriculum in a school too now. And actually we're helping him with that. So I'll let him know. I'll definitely let him know that hey man, because like I say, he got some juice, man. He got some juice and he ain't playing with it in the 70s. And ain't got he cantankerous or something. I can't call it, but he know his shit, and
Right.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, and if ever you want to present something yourself, King, and if ever you want to present something yourself too, man, you just let us know and we'll put you right in.
I'm down with that. That's cool, brother.
Okay,
That's
cool. All right, I'm gonna ride out, man. Peace to you, King Eric, man. I really appreciate it. I'm excited, man.
Okay, my
Hey
brother.
man,
Peace and blessings to all you too.
hey,
Man.
hey,
Thanks
hey,
for
so
inviting me, man.
we're gonna close out, man. We're gonna close out real quick, man. Uh, um, Eric, I know you just got on the show, man, but you want to close out real quick?
Yeah, well, I didn't get a chance to catch all the content, but I know y'all on the right path, man. There you go, Mr. Yeah, y'all. I'm sorry, I was helping my. Y'all on the right path, man. Keep on doing what we're doing and keep it staying open to the information because it's a lot. It's a lot, and what we're doing, trying to accomplish, is damn near genius shit. This is genius shit because it takes us to be disciplined in a lot of different things. So it ain't just one dimensional, one angle, because as we study our family,
Hold on, you breaking up. You
dimension.
breaking up, King. You breaking up. Hold on.
Let's snap back in a minute.
Yeah,
We don't want to miss what you're saying, but you're breaking up.
yeah, you broke up, man. You gotta start over.
No, it's happiness. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
there you go.
Okay. All right, like I was saying, man, these folks, our kinfolk, they came up out the interior of Central Africa. It was bad, man. They was bad before they got to Egypt, brother.
Right.
They was sharp, and they was using some science. They was already in tune, but the beauty of it was this: they didn't take nothing out of this world per se to learn and study the natural world. They studied what was above them and what was beneath them, what was all around them, and that was it. And they was cold-witted. They understood the world. Watch the video today. Look at that video, man, and watch how. First of all, constructing a pyramid, and look, it's another thing, real quick. Them dates might be off like an MF, way off. When we talk about 4,000 years BC, I'm sorry. 4,000 years BC, that might not be accurate. 4,200, 5,000, 5,000, that might not be accurate, man. We might be talking about further back because the numbers that the Europeans and the Greeks gave, it just don't add up to what we're now learning. But this video I'm gonna send y'all a link to, gonna hit right on that. But to me, even the video, to me, may not be doing it justice because here's the thing. When you study the Great Year talks about church wars books, and another book that I got talks about them Africans in Western Africa. They had the Great Year happen. They have mapped the Great Year 10 times. Each time is damn near, that's about 200-some thousand years.
Damn.
They done mapped the Great Year, which is when a certain star comes in visibility. But check out the video. So that's what I'm saying. It just seems like now the numbers are off.
Oh, we know they off.
I'm talking about way off. Way off.
Yeah. They talking about
hundreds of thousands of years off.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Because when you get into how these dudes was making how they was making the pyramids, it's gonna be different than what I had ever witnessed before. Because here's the thing: what all the studies that they've been saying, that we was tugging these heavy ass bricks up the pyramid with ramps and shit.
Hey, but I'm just saying, like the Sphinx. They say the Sphinx is 50,000 years old. 50,000. So if it's 50,000 years old, how long did it take for them to develop that knowledge to build something like that?
Exactly.
Right? So I'm just saying, so if it's 50,000 years old, King, like just think about how old the people is.
Exactly. And when you look at what they were using to measure time and how they began to measure time, and they understood time in that fashion, and everything else lined up with the measurement of time. And that's basically what it is. And the pyramid was put into place the Great Pyramid was put in a place that pretty much is in the center of the planet.
Right, right.
Directly aligned like it's supposed to be to keep time with the movement of the sun, them damn stars, them constellations, you know, the moon, all that stuff. Keeping time with all of it. Because the woman was calling with it too. And we have to make sure too, we make sure we know that sister was right there. Because the Shango bone got her all over it. That
And-
Shango bone and that the Bombo bone older than that got her written all over because the way she was counting them calendar days, which is monitoring her menstrual cycle. That same moon time frame, baby. Yeah,
They
she
aligned.
moon.
They
Yeah,
aligned.
yeah.
They aligned those pyramids with Orion's belt.
With Sirius.
Right.
Sirius is the star. Now, when you line them three up together, there you go. Them
That's
is
all
the
three.
Magi. Those are the three
The
kings.
Magi, the three
Those are the
kings.
three
That's right.
kings that they were talking about who visited, you know, the one. The
Right.
three kings visited the one.
They was
Oh, man.
hey
No,
we
no.
hey they was already on that.
Oh, yeah,
They was already on that before
already-
the Bible even was thought about. They was already on the three kings and the star leading to the star series, right? Which was supposed to be a set, right?
Said, and that was one of the first, believe it or not, one of the first concepts of God that about these guys. Set, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
now later on, Set became Satan.
Ha.
Yeah.
Right.
Later on, he
Wow.
became later. Yeah. But man, look, them guys, there's enough information that we all could be in every state teaching this in someone's school, teaching these to students. There's no, the teachers aren't taught this shit, and they can't debate me on none of this shit.
Hey, but you know, but you know
We got
what?
the proof.
They,
See, and
but
this is Phil say, we got the proof, baby. We got
They
the
take-
this ain't shit.
but they taking it
ain't
out of the
shit.
schools. They taking it
Yeah.
out of the schools. We had
That's
never
why we
better
gonna
get it
be
in
able-
the schools. You know what we had to do? What we
What?
got to do is we got to get up like community centers and our private schools in order to put the real history back in, like these community centers. You can get a community center, you know what I mean, like you know, not quite a boys and girls club, but a community center for the kids and adults, right? And you can hold classes like that, right? You know what I'm saying? And you know, to where they can't come and mess with you. They can't come and, you know, look, man, I'm teaching my Black history. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You can't
Yep.
tell me what I can, you know, I can't teach my Black history. You know what I'm saying? No, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, man, like that's what we got. That's what we should be doing. That's the only way that's gonna happen is you know, it's to better spread this history is we got to make our own moves, man, because like I said, they shutting us down. They shutting us all the way down, man. They got books, they got books that they banning. They you know, they got banned books all over the place now. You know what I mean? It's crazy,
Yeah.
man.
It is. Yeah.
Hey,
And
hey, Eric, are you familiar with Happy Films?
HAPI?
Yeah, Happy Films. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of Happy Film. Yeah.
And have you ever virtually attended one of the conferences? Me
No.
and Jamie both attended last year's
No.
and this year's.
Uh-uh.
So Infiducci was talking about how they and this year's one, he was talking about how they building the pyramids. He gives a description of how they built the pyramids. They had the stuff up there, they poured the rock, and then they put a shift underneath it, you know, and they built it in there and they shifted it into place, right? You know, and they didn't have to carry all that up there. They wasn't carrying big bricks up there and stuff. They built it on their way up, right? So I'm gonna watch that one that you're talking about, man. And then I gotta watch that one that Jamie talking about. Oh, y'all got me locked and loaded.
Look, I want you to hear from you. If you watch today, I want to just hear from you. Send me something. Let me know what you think about it, man.
Okay.
And the simple concept that you got, man, just check it out, man. Hey, check it out. Yeah, I'm gonna send it. What's the best way to do it? Just send it, put it on Sankofa.
You can put it on Sankofa and then
I just do it on the messenger.
whichever way you want to do it.
I do both, hell.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right. All right. And
Make
then
sure I
I'll send
tell
you
you
that
know,
one from Shaka that Jamie
please
put up.
do, man. I
I'll
want
send
both
you
of
that
them. The
on
one
Messenger.
Mr. Ben was talking about. Huh?
Yeah. I'll send that to you on Messenger.
Okay, cool.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
Cool.
Uncle,
That's cool.
hey,
That's
hey,
cool.
Uncle, you want to go ahead and close out?
Yeah, let me get my shit together. In the presence of supremacy here with both of y'all, and thank you for Carrie and Jen for joining. And this was a good build, man, and I feel honored to have Jamie and Eric on. I'm just a baby in the game, man. But I tell you what, Jamie asked me one thing, what if one of your people come at you, man, that's deep in the game and with Christianity, and I said they're gonna lose, man. They're gonna lose right off the top, man. I got scholars in my family, man, with that business over there, man, and so thank you guys for being a part of this, man, and for teaching me how to build, man, and providing me with the content. I research deep, but I'm always I feel honored to be able to learn from you guys too, man. And because when I go out, man, I'm equipped today. Today I'm equipped, right? so I look forward to more, man.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
Hey, family, listen, man, I just want to say, man, thanks for attending, man. Please like and subscribe, share, ring that notification bell, and comment. Please give us a comment, man. Like I said, we ain't asked for nothing. You know what I mean? We don't need no donations. We don't need no cash apps, no PayPal, none of that. We just need your attention, man, and some participation, right? Hey, don't forget to tune in next Sunday, our family. We got the children's book read coming up. Nico will be reading one of the principles of Ma'at, which is truth. He's reading truth, and he's gonna read that book, and we're gonna do the raffle right after, and the winner will win a free Black African children's book, right?
One of these.
Right. Show them, King. Hey, free of charge, King. Family, free of charge, right? Mailed to your house, free of charge, in hopes that the child do the next read for the next available slot. Hey, family, it's just to encourage the kids to read. And again, they taking the history out, the Black African history out of the schools. So it's up to us to take the reins and show our kids where they came from, who they are. You know what I'm saying? The motto is know thyself, right? And Sankofa, king and queens. Sankofa. All right. If you don't know what that means, look it up. It's deep, it's tough, and it's real. Hey, thank you, family. Again,
All right.
like and subscribe.
And to make sure you come on over to Sankofa 180 degrees and scroll through our page, man. Get your membership in and join us on Sankofa Sundays, man. And